Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube NFL prediction segment, I'm going to be giving you my picks and analysis for Week 1 of the 2024 NFL season. So I'm going to start out with, the first game is going to be Thursday night. Is Kansas City at home versus the Ravens, and might be the marquee matchup of the week. Very compelling matchup. Kansas City, of course, is just coming off their Super Bowl, victory. They're trying to do something unprecedented and win 3 straight Super Bowls. I will incorporate this in the video. I am going to pick them to win the Super Bowl and get the three-peat and defeat the Detroit Lions in that Super Bowl. I'm going to take Kansas City in this one. They've had the Ravens number in recent time. Have taken 5 of 6 from them, and they are somebody. Rushing offense was not great last season, number 19, but maybe that could be Baltimore's Achilles heel. We're going to find out in this game. Baltimore did acquire Derrick Henry. They got the combination of Henry and Lamar Jackson can be lethal in the running department. They're trying to get over the hump and defeat Kansas City. This could, I just wonder if it's a point where it could, it becomes a psychological thing after a while, and they're thinking, well, no matter what we do, we can't beat Kansas City. So it's going to be a good, matchup to see. Even though it's just one game, it could be somewhat telling. If Baltimore can actually get over the hump, they defeat Kansas City, that could give them some swagger and confidence the rest of the way. But I'm going to take Kansas City tonight, but it should be a tight game. Now, next game is going to be Philadelphia, considered technically home. It's going to be, I believe, out of the country, though. They're playing Green Bay. Philadelphia is technically the home team, though, but I will take the Eagles to get this done. Eagles were kind of like, they were, first half team last season. When I say first half of the season team last season, then they kind of faltered a little bit down the stretch. I'm going to take them to get this done. They flourished early in the season last year, 6-2 at home, 11-6 overall. Green Bay actually did the opposite. They might have done the opposite to some degree. Green Bay, they came on strong at the end of the season, and they played, very well. They're a team that's ascending. They're on the rise. They went 4-5 just on the road last season, 9-8 overall. Wouldn't be surprised that Green Bay wins this. Actually, this is really more like a neutral site if you think about it. But I'm going to still go with my first choice, the Eagles, to get this done. Now, the next game, I'm going to take Atlanta at home versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, Atlanta, where you talk about, it's going to be a team where there's going to be a lot of focus on as they do the Kirk Cousins arrival there, and can he lead the Falcons to a division title? And I think Kirk Cousins is really one of the better quarterbacks in the league. He's gone a little bit under the radar in recent time because he just, because you have a few like these quarterbacks that are just so elite, and I think for that reason, Kirk Cousins is, kind of, again, goes under that radar. He's not quite as conspicuous as some of these other QBs, but he's really a solid quarterback. Atlanta was actually 5-3 at home last season, and the Steelers now, they're in a similar situation. Well, same situation as far as the quarterback, because Russell Wilson is joining them, and he's going to be the starter. Pittsburgh has a solid, blocking, offensive line that likely make this close. The coach, Mike Tomlin, is really, really great coach, and this team, he seems to keep this discipline in this team no matter what, their personnel is. They go out and play hard consistently. I think I'm still going to take Atlanta and get this done, the first game of the Kirk Cousins era at home. Now, the next game, I'm going to go with Buffalo at home versus Arizona. Buffalo, they've lost Stephon Diggs. A lot of people think they're going to take a step back. I'm still going to pick them to win the AFC East. A lot of people are picking my Jets to win the division. I hope they're right, but I'm going to go still with Buffalo as a perennial contender. I think Josh Allen, the quarterback for the Bills, is good enough to, to still, be very productive and help lead this team to a good amount of victories this season. They were 7-2 at home last season. Arizona, who they're playing, was just 2-7 on the road, 4-13 overall. Next to last in scoring defense, number 33 scoring defense. I think the Bills are going to have their way against that Arizona defense. So I'm going to take the Bills to get this done at home. Next game, we'll take the Chicago Bears at home over the Tennessee Titans. Chicago Bears are kind of like that intriguing team because, and I understand it was just a preseason, but they had a very good preseason. I think they were undefeated. They have some swagger because of that. They were 5-3, actually at home last season, 7-10 overall, and their number one, rushing yards allowed per game. They were in the number one run defense in the NFL. Tennessee, on the other hand, has lost Derrick Henry. They were just 1-7 on the road last season, and I don't really think, Tennessee was number 16 in rushing yards per game, and that threatens to go down this season. And they also only had 6 defensive interceptions last season. The secondary, still the jury is still out on them. Too many questions. I'm going to go with Chicago at home. Now the next game, I'm going to take the Cincinnati Bengals at home to get this done against the New England Patriots. It's odd, how 4 or 5 years can make such a difference with teams. I mean, if this was in, New England with the Tom Brady era, the New England Patriots would be almost a consensus pick to win the game. But I'm going to take, the Bengals. Joe Burrow will be back. I don't know how many games he missed last season, but not sure whatever, time he missed definitely was pivotal in the Bengals' fortunes. The Bengals, could be a Super Bowl contender. They've given Kansas City a lot of trouble over the years. The Bengals, they have, their offense is definitely better than the Patriots because the Patriots only averaged 13.9 points per game last season, and the Bengals averaged 21.5 points per game. That offense will probably be better this season if Joe Burrow lasts the entire season. They'll probably average at least 25, 26 points per game, I would think. So I'm going to go with the Bengals to get this done at home. Now the next game, I want to take Houston on the road against the Indianapolis Colts. Houston, they superseded expectations last season. Stroud, had a phenomenal, rookie year for them. I mean, it was just like really, that was one of the best seasons for a rookie quarterback in NFL history. I think Houston is on the rise. I believe they're one of the top, you could say, 4 teams in the AFC anyway. Indianapolis, the jury is out on quarterback Anthony Richardson. The Colts just went a pedestrian 4-5 at home last season, and Houston was 4-4, on the road. But Houston may actually be a little better on the road this season because I think the team is ascending and on the rise. So I'm going to take the Houston Texans to get this done on the road. Now the next game, we'll take Miami Dolphins at home against Jacksonville. Miami, they started out, very strong last season. I think they won their first 4 home games, and they were 7-2 at home overall. They were number 1 total offense. Jacksonville, kind of took a step back last season. I don't know if they're going to be rebuilding or they're going to come back to the form that they were 2 seasons ago. I think there's still some question marks with that team. They were 5-3 on the road last season, though. They were, kind of a formidable road team. They may get this done, but Miami, I think the offense is just going to be too much, for the Jacksonville Jaguars to handle at this point. And I think that's going to be, the receiving core, I think it's going to really win that battle against the Jags secondary. So I'm going to take Miami to get this done at home. Now the next game, take the Saints at home against the Carolina Panthers. It's not a game that requires an overabundance of analysis because the Saints, you're talking about a team that was 9-8 last season. Carolina was a meager 2-15. They may have augmented their pass protection but I don't know if that's going to make a difference. Carolina was also 0-9 on the road, and they had like number 32, total, whether it's total offense or defense, but they, whatever it was offensive, and the New Orleans was 5-3 at home last season, so I think, for the Saints, it'd be very hard pressed for them to find a way to lose this game. So I'm going to take the Saints to get this done at home. Now the next game, the Giants are at home against Minnesota. As much as I don't want to go against, my New York team, I'm going to take Minnesota to get this done on the road. The Giants had, as far as their, offensive line is arguably the worst last season. They gave up 85 sacks, which was the worst in the NFL. They lost Saquon Barkley. Minnesota lost Kirk Cousins, but I think the receivers for the Minnesota Vikings are going to have their day with the Giants secondary, and I think the defensive front for the Vikings should win the battle against the Giants O-line, and I'm going to take the Vikings to get this done on the road. The next game, I'm going to take the Chargers to get this done, at home against the Las Vegas Raiders. There's a lot of hoopla with the Chargers and Harbaugh, arriving as the new coach, for the team, and a lot of people think he's going to rejuvenate and revive this squad, and time will tell. I think they will become a better team under Harbaugh. The Chargers were like 5-12 last season, and they may have underachieved, and I think Harbaugh's going to go in that direction. And this season, they could at least contend for the playoffs. I don't know if they're actually going to make the playoffs. I think they may just miss it, by like a game or something this season. But the Las Vegas Raiders feel like they're rejuvenated as well. They got a new coach, and they started to play, I believe, a little bit better under him. Wide receiver Devontae Adams is going to be an intriguing matchup with him and Asante Samuel, defender on the Chargers. I'm going to say the Chargers just get the upper hand on this. I think they're going to be very hyped for this game at home under the new coach with Harbaugh, the first game in the Harbaugh era, and I do like the Chargers to get this one done at home. Now the next game, I'm going to take the Seattle Seahawks to win at home against Denver. Seattle was 9-8 last season. I think they're going to put relentless pressure on the Broncos rookie quarterback. That's going to be a very, big, telling tale in this game. The Broncos lost Russell Wilson last season. They were, the thing though is they were fifth in sacks allowed, but they're still, I think, just that the pressure from the Seattle, from their defensive front, they're going to win that battle, and I think that's going to be a big difference in this game. So I'm going to take Seattle to get this done at home. Now the next game, I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns to win at home against Dallas. I know Dallas seems to be maybe a consensus favorite to win this game, but we can't overlook Cleveland, because Cleveland was 8-1 at home last season. Myles Garrett in the Browns defensive front, I think they're going to put good pressure on Dak Prescott of the Cowboys. The Cowboys were just 4-5 on the road last season. They did go 12-5 overall, and they were number one and in terms of points per game. So I'm going to want to see this defense of Cleveland go against, the Cowboys offense. I think it's going to be very compelling in terms of that matchup. I'm going to say Cleveland just, wins by a hair in this one. So I'll take the Browns at home. Next game, I'm going to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home over the Washington Commanders. Now, Tampa Bay, the one Achilles heel, they were number 32 in rushing yards per game last season, but they're still in the middle of the pack, number 17 passing yards per game, 4-4 at home. Washington just 3-6 on the road. I think they're still kind of like in a reclamation, rebuilding mode, and it's just not a good, and it would be a good matchup for them in week one this season. Washington was number 32, dead last in scoring defense. I think Tampa Bay is going to be able to put up enough points to get this done. So I'll take the Bucs to win at home. Now, the next game, I'm going to take the Detroit Lions to get this done at home against the Los Angeles Rams. Detroit right now, they have Super Bowl aspirations, and I did, as I said earlier in the video, I picked them to come out of the NFC, though with Kansas City emerging victorious in the Super Bowl. And, the pass defense, I believe, has been addressed for Detroit, and that can make the difference of them getting over the hump this year and actually getting to the Super Bowl. Now, the Rams finished very strong last season, regular season. They won the last 4 regular season games. They still could be, a contender to at least win the division, but I don't think they could still, they're still not as good as Detroit. And I think it's going to be a barometer game for the Rams in this one to see where they're really at. And if the Rams were to somehow pull the upset off, people might be looking at them, even though it's one game, as a team that team to be reckoned with that can contend, to come out of the NFC. But, that remains to be seen. And I think there's still more with Detroit to say they'll win as opposed to the Rams winning. So I'll take the Lions at home. Now, last but not least, I talked about, marquee matchup before with the Chiefs and the Ravens, but this game, could be very close. I mean, to them, the San Francisco 49ers, I'm going to take at home against my New York Jets. I hate, I don't want to go against my Jets. I know they got, a lot of aspirations this season. There's a lot of talk with Aaron Rodgers. If he stays healthy the whole season, the Jets can, emerge from the AFC. There's even some people picking them to go to the Super Bowl, but I think with the Jets, we got to kind of pump the brakes a little and just be very, realistic. It's a team that hasn't made the postseason in years. I think it's like 12 years or something, 13 years since they've actually been there. So, I mean, let's get the winning record first and then the playoff appearance and then go from there. I'm not ready to anoint them, Super Bowl champions as of yet. I still think there's a number of teams that are actually better in the AFC alone than the Jets, including the Chiefs, Ravens, and Bills and Bengals. I would say could still be better than Jets. Even Miami. I mean, the AFC is loaded. Now, going to the 49ers, though, they've had some issues. Like there was a contract issue with somebody, but, I think what's going to happen, though, is I think they still have enough to get this done. I don't know the status of Christian McCaffrey, if he's going to be playing or not. Naturally, if he doesn't play, that could make a difference in this game. But 49ers at home, having the Super Bowl aspirations, they've basically shown, proven that they're good. They're a team to be reckoned with. The Jets are still trying to find that way, their identity, and to see if they, whether, their pieces, the proponents they have, is actually going to manifest in success on the playing field. And it may take them a little time to play cohesively. I don't think they're quite ready to get this W, on Monday Night Football against the 49ers. I understand, Aaron Rodgers has a very, solid record and has put up very good numbers on Monday Night Football, but, I don't think it's going to be enough to get that done. I'm still going to take the 49ers to win this one at home. Anyway, people, that will conclude this YouTube NFL prediction segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.